Hi everyone, thanks again for watching my video. If you haven't already, please subscribe as videos are coming out every week. Today we're going to talk about everything you need to know about the CPA Common Final Exam, also known as the CFE. And I'll also be sharing about helpful tips and resources as well. So for the overview of today, we're going to talk about what is the Common Final Exam, what is on the day 1, day 2, and day 3 of the exam, what is needed to pass the exam, what is the pass rate, what's the logistics like of the exam day, and then finally, tips and resources to passing the CFE. So now let's talk about what is the Common Final Exam. It's essentially the last educational component of your CPA journey. It's a case-based typed exam that is 4 to 5 hours long each day. So now let's talk about day 1 of the exam. It's going to be a 4-hour exam, about 15 pages with appendices. It's going to be a continuation of your Capstone 1. So what that means is it's going to have the similar users, mission, vision, and objective of the company. But it might be 5 years later since the scenario you read about in Capstone 1. Similar to your Capstone 1, the main focus of this day is going to be on your enabling competencies and not your accounting technical. Don't worry about memorizing everything in your Capstone 1 case, as it's going to be given to you on the day of the exam as a reference, but you should be familiar with the case beforehand. At the end of the day, you're essentially doing a mini Capstone 1 by yourself. You'll have to do a situational analysis and operational issues, with doing qualitative and quantitative analysis. And then lastly, you'll have to come up with a recommendation and some advice. Something to note is that your day 1 is marked separately from your day 2 and your day 3. Therefore, you can pass your day 1 and fail your day 2 and day 3, or vice versa. So here's an example of a day 1 CFE case. It shows that there are no changes in WDI's vision, mission, and core values. And also, the company's operations have not substantively changed. In addition, it will probably give you some updates of what has happened since you have last worked with them. For anyone watching this video, you probably don't like COVID-19, and you're not alone. The CPA also doesn't like COVID-19. That's why it doesn't exist on any of their cases so far. Now let's talk about the day 2 case. CPA says that this is a 3.5-hour case, but they give you 5 hours to do. So generous of them. But if you ask me, I think it's a 6-hour case and they only gave you 5 hours to do. I guess it's just a difference in opinion. And like all things in accounting, I guess it just depends how you look at it. I'll let you guys be the judge of it after you finish your exam. Anyways, the case is going to be about 20 pages long. 15 of them are going to be common pages, which means everyone writing the exam is going to have the exact same pages. And then about 5 of them are going to be role specific. So that depends on one of the 2 electives that you've selected as the role that you want to be. That can be assurance, tax, finance, or performance management, depending on what you chose. For the common pages, they mainly test you on financial accounting, but they can also test you on managerial accounting as well. And of course, it could be an IFRS or ASPE. They say that the requireds are very directed in this case. In addition, when you get to the role-specific pages, make sure you only read the ones about your role and not someone else's, because you're also able to see pages for other people's roles as well. The objective of your day 2 case is try to get competent in as many areas in your elective as you can. Something to note is that your scores for day 2 are combined with your day 3 to determine if you pass and fail those 2 days. So now let's talk about your day 3 exam. It's a 4-hour exam with 3 to 4 separate cases, and each of them consisting of 5 to 7 pages each. That means the exam can be made up of 3 cases ranging from 90 to 70 minutes, or all of them being 80 minutes each. A maximum number of minutes per case is 90 minutes, and the minimum number of time given for a case is 45 minutes. Again, all cases can be in IFRS or ASPE. On the day 3 case, you'll be assessed in your depth for financial reporting and managerial accounting again, and then breadth in covering all the 6 competencies. As some competencies don't come up often throughout the exam, make sure you don't skip any of them, because you need to maintain a minimum mark for each competency. So I just wanted to give everyone a quick reminder to please subscribe if you have not, and hope my 2 other videos on how to become a CPA in Canada and case writing tips are helpful to you. And now let's continue with this video. So now let's talk about how you actually pass day 2 and day 3. The first question asks, was the aggregate competency demonstrated sufficient? Essentially what they're asking is if you got enough points on the exam. And how you get points on the exam is getting a reaching competent, a competent, or a competent with distinction. Each one of those gets you more and more points. However, the point total for a competent answer and a competent with distinction is the same. That's why it's always advised to candidates, if you're not trying to aim for the honor roll, you just need to get a C and move on to the next question. The next question asks, was the financial accounting or managerial accounting competencies demonstrated deep enough? In other words, did you get enough C's on your FA or FM? However, anyone that wants to get their public accounting license, they have to get enough C's on their FA, and it's not an either or between the two. The third question asks, were the role competencies demonstrated deep enough? And what this means is that just on your day 2, did you get enough C's on the elective role? Lastly, was the competencies demonstrated broad enough? In other words, did I get enough RCs for all the competencies? In general, there's no set score that you need to get on your CFE to be able to guarantee a pass. You're marked against your peers of that year. Now, once you're done with the exam and get your results back, hopefully you can say that you're a successful CFE writer. So here's the CFE first attempt pass results for the last 3 years. And as you can see, it's been pretty consistent. About 75% of the people pass on their first try. And if you ever attempt it for a second time, the pass rate is even higher. It's at 87%. And for a third time, that's about 90%. So don't worry, your odds of passing the next few times are even higher. So now let's talk about the logistics of the exam. Before COVID-19, everyone used to sit in one big room and they just write their exams, similar in the picture on the left. After COVID hit, this is what everyone gets. Everyone gets their private hotel room, just one person per room, and they get a computer and a desk to themselves. If you ask me, I hope CPA continues using hotel rooms after COVID is over, because it's so much less intimidating sitting by yourself than in a room full of people and maybe the person beside you is typing at 100 miles per hour while you're still reading the first page of your exam. So now let's talk about what you should bring to the exam. The first thing should be a form of government-issued identification with your picture on it. If there's still COVID, you should bring a mask. If you don't have one, the hotel should be able to provide you one. And then there's hand sanitizer if you also want as well. The third bullet point is pretty important, I think, which is food and drinks. Some people might disagree with me, but I think bringing food and drinks is for sure for any exams because you don't want to be sitting there hungry for the next few hours. Just make sure they have their original packaging or wrapped in clear plastic. The next thing you should bring is a pencil, eraser, and highlighter, so you could use during the case. In addition, you're allowed to bring medication and feminine hygiene products, tissues if they're loose or in clear wrapping. This is the next key thing that you need to bring. You need to bring a wired mouse. CPA will not be giving you any mouses, so if you don't want to be stuck doing the exam using the trackpad, you should bring your own wired mouse. We'll talk about this after as well, but a wireless mouse is not at the exam. So to carry everything that you're bringing, you're allowed to bring a clear plastic bag. The dimensions of this bag is about the size of a large Ziploc bag. The last thing you want to bring to the exam is good luck, because you'll need it. Some obvious things you're not allowed to bring to the exam are weapons and illegal drugs, in case you want to rage quit and hurt yourself and others around you. The next few items I want to go over are things that you can have with you, but you are not allowed to use it when the exam actually starts. So if you have them with you, they normally have to be placed somewhere out of reach while you're doing the exam. Normally it's by the door where the invigilators are able to see it. So my advice for anyone is that if you don't actually need these items, leave them in the car or at home and don't bring them to the hotel. Some of these items include a computer, a wireless mouse, an external keyboard, books, notes, newspaper, and magazines, or it's a calculator that is not a BA2 plus Texas instrument. There's no real reason why you actually need to bring a calculator because CPA actually gives you this type of calculator, and we'll talk about that after. CPA also doesn't allow you to bring your own earplugs or headphones. In addition, you're not allowed to bring any pens, mechanical pencils, pencil sharpener, or ruler. So make sure you pack enough pencils, or else if you accidentally only packed pens, you won't have anything to write with during the exam. In addition, you're also not allowed to bring any bags or non-transparent containers. If you have head covering, you have to remove them during the exam, unless you have it on for a religious reason. In that case, you have to ask for permission beforehand from the Office of Registrar in writing and get their approval before the day you write your exam. Lastly, cell phones, tablets, and any other communication devices are not allowed. So now let's talk about what CPA will actually provide you during the exam. The first thing is their laptop. You're not allowed to use your own laptop and you'll have to only use theirs. This one is going to be about 15-inch and it has either a number pad that's built in onto the keyboard or a wired number pad that you're allowed to use. In addition, this laptop will come with Secure Exam, which gives you a basic version of Excel and Word. In addition, it will also have an electronic version of the Accounting Handbook and the Tax Act. However, the joke is, if anyone tries to open the Tax Act for anything, you're probably not going to be passing the exam. And they'll also be giving you a BA2+ Texas Instrument Calculator, in addition soft earplugs as well. However, I don't know how useful those would be, as you're going to be sitting in a hotel room by yourself. Lastly, you're going to get the exam package, which normally consists of 2 booklets, one being a booklet with the questions of the exam, and another one that is blank to use as scrap paper. So now let's go over how your exam day will actually look. The first thing you need to do is arrive at the destination on time. I can't stress this enough, as reading their policies, they seem very strict on this, especially when there's COVID, there's social distancing requirements that need to be met, and that might delay the check-in time. And they say if you're late, you'll just have to rebook the exam the next time they offer it. So once you get to the hotel, they'll probably ask you to do a COVID screening question if COVID is still around. After that, you get assigned to your hotel room. Once you get to the hotel room, you'll probably take your clear plastic bag with everything you need and put it on your desk. And everything else you don't need, you'll probably put it in a bag and leave it somewhere near the door where the invigilators are able to see. There will be multiple invigilators on each floor, making sure that each person is well supervised during the whole exam. You'll be the only one inside the room while you do the exam, so it's okay for you to take off your mask if you want to. There's going to be washrooms inside the hotel room for you to use if you need. And if you really have any questions, the invigilators are only there for technical issues, which means if your computer breaks down or you can't access a program, that's what they're there for. Anything regarding the exam in terms of how to do a question or clarifying the questions, they will not be answering those. At the end of each day, you have to place your garbage bins outside of the hotel room so the invigilators can inspect it to make sure that there's no hidden notes or any prohibited items during the exam. Once you're done, go home and relax. Don't think about what you wrote on the case. Was it right? Was it wrong? What your friends wrote. Just prepare for the next day of the exam if you're not done, and if you are, then enjoy your freedom. Everything I talked about regarding the logistics of the exam can be found in a CPA exam regulations document that I'll post a link to in the description below. So now let's talk about some CFE tips and resources. The first tip is to form a study group and mark each other's cases. When they mark the case, make sure you don't provide any extra commentary or explanation on the side. The reason for this is because you want to get unbiased feedback, and you want to learn from your friends on what they did well on the case. The second tip is that you want to memorize the criteria or where to find it in the handbook. The reason for this is because you need to get a certain level of depth, and you can only do this if you link case facts to the right criteria. You don't have to cite the exact section in the handbook to get full marks. You can paraphrase the section in your own words as well. The third tip is going to be establishing a routine, whether it's going to be doing cases every day or debriefing in between. In addition, when you do the cases, make sure you're doing it also within the time limit. Some helpful resources that CPA provides are the CPA exam regulations and CFE blueprints, which I'll have links to in the description below. And that's it. Thanks everyone for watching my video. If you liked what you saw, please give this video a thumbs up. I'm trying to make videos every week, so make sure you subscribe so you'll get the notification. If you have any questions or comments about my videos, leave me a comment and I'll make sure to reply them. You'll also see links to my past videos on the screen. If you have time, please check them out. Thanks.